Welcome back in Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Let's get the latest on the Middle East with retired Marine Intelligence Officer Hal Kemper. As always, Hal, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on. It was a busy couple of days, and let's start with this footage here because this is kind of tough to watch. Maybe you saw these images on social media. An Israeli strike on Al-Aqsa Hospital's courtyard in the Gaza Strip killed at least 4 people, and it sent flames sweeping through a camp for people displaced by the war. It left more than 24 people with severe burns, according to Palestinian medics quoted in the Associated Press. Hal, I'm not sure if you have seen these, but it's incredibly hard to watch some of the images that are on social media. We're not showing the worst of them on TV, obviously. The Israeli military said that it targeted militants that were hiding out among civilians. It's not news to us that Hamas hides out among civilians. This is already a tough challenge, but how tough of a challenge is it going to be moving forward for them to filter between civilians and terrorists as they continue their campaign to eliminate Hamas? What's going to be the challenge, Hal?
Well, the big challenge, Austin, is to basically go through and differentiate who are the terrorists and who are not. You know, with Hamas, they normally don't wear uniforms. Initially in the conflict, surprisingly, they were wearing some uniforms. But now they try to blend in with the populace. So that's always going to be a challenge. That happens in every low-intensity conflict, counterinsurgency conflict, where the insurgents will try and blend in with the local populace. And, of course, every time there's a strike and there's collateral damage, there will be a lot of discussion about, is it a violation of the law of war? One thing I would mention is that for Hamas, they want everything the IDF does to be considered a violation of the law of war. So from an information or strategic communication standpoint, they will always put that out. Now, this one is just, it's particularly gruesome. A few people were killed outright, but just the nature of these horrific injuries. I believe one of those kills was, or a couple of people alive. It's just horrible. And of course, you have people with third-degree burns that lack proper medical treatment, because one of the problems is the medical system in Gaza is so debilitated that they're having a tough time treating traditional, war injuries, if you will. And then you have something like this where people are suffering these severe burns. There will be some discussion, and I'm sure there's going to be more come out about this, about what exactly did the IDF see? Did they use proportional force? What caused the fires? I mean, we know the tents caught fire, but it could be that there was something else there, possibly fuel nearby, some sort of accelerant that caused those fires to go so big. And I'm sure if the IDF could do it again, they'd probably rethink it now, knowing the effects of what the strike entailed.
It was a deadly past couple days, sadly. We also heard of a Hezbollah drone attack on an Israeli army base on Sunday. That killed 4 soldiers. It injured more than 60 people. Hal, are there questions as to how this drone, it's described as a UAV, I believe that's unmanned aerial vehicle, launched by Hezbollah. 4 soldiers gone. Are there questions as to how this drone penetrated the airspace? It did not trigger their alert system, if I read correctly. Are there going to be questions as to how that happened?
Austin, there's going to be enormous questions on this. How did the UAV, this reminds me of the UAV that came in from the Houthi area, from Yemen, where it flew all the way up out over the Mediterranean and came in and hit a building in Tel Aviv, and they didn't pick up on it. I mean, actually, a person did pick up on it. They picked up their cell phone and they videotaped. They did the cell phone video, basically showing it going in and hitting the building. But none of their early warning system, none of the radars or anything picked up on it. That is a huge question. This one's a huge question. This went in and hit what I would call a chow hall, a mess hall, a big cafeteria where the troops were eating. 4 were killed, 58 were injured, almost 60, as you mentioned. And of course, the injuries, some are very serious injuries, life-threatening injuries. So they're going to be asking a lot of questions because, frankly, it didn't just hit a military base, didn't just hit an occupied space in the military base. This hit a space where it was guaranteed to cause a high degree of death and injury to IDF soldiers. And so there'll be a lot of questions on what happened here. And frankly, there's been a little bit of, from what I'm picking up on, a little bit of a review on how they're missing these drones across the board. You know, the focus certainly has been on ballistic missiles. And of course, that's one of the big issues right now is ballistic missiles because of what the U.S. is doing, sending a THAAD system with U.S. personnel there. But uh, but this was a drone, and the question is, how are they missing this? Is it a tactical thing? Is it how they're flying the drones? Is it a gap in their coverage? There's just a lot of questions.
You know, I want to take a live look at Tel Aviv on what I believe is in Israeli time now, Tuesday morning. The Israeli ambassador to the United Nations on Sunday accused the United Nations interim force in Lebanon, I'll call it UNIFIL from here on out, accused him of failing to enforce its mission to prevent Hezbollah from establishing military outposts on the border with Israel. We do have another live look, I believe, at Haifa. This is one of those northern Israeli communities that so often is under those red alerts because of Hezbollah rockets. We do have, and I want to ask our producer if we have that infographic from Twitter, if we can pull that up really quick, because the IDF did put this up. There it is. Of basically, it's showing what it claims are Hezbollah launches toward Israel from locations near UNIFIL posts. These UNIFIL members are peacekeepers, correct, Hal? Does it make you wonder how Hezbollah was able to establish what they did in this region, given what we're looking at on the map here?
Well, they've done it over a period of years. You know, you have to remember this agreement for UNIFIL and the Lebanese army to basically force compliance, if you will, with UN Security Resolution 1701, which is no Hezbollah forces south of the Litani River, has utterly failed. It is a basically it's just a point in fact that UNIFIL force with the Lebanese army did not stop Hezbollah from operating in that area. The fact that Hezbollah is operating in that area tells you that that mission, it's not really a point of conjecture. Hezbollah is there. I don't even think Hezbollah argues that they're down there. I haven't heard them say we're not there. They're there. And frankly, more and more is getting uncovered as the IDF is in there, showing that just like Hamas does in Gaza, just like Hezbollah has been doing elsewhere in Lebanon, they will move in close to these protected sites, in this case, UNIFIL sites, and they will set up arms caches and battle positions and all sorts of stuff right in and around these positions. There's another video I saw I believe it was taken from a drone that flew over, and it shows a UNIFIL camp. And then 500 yards away, you see a big arms cache. They actually went out and laid them on the ground where they found them so you could see them from the air. But it was just showing how close they are to these UN positions. What this does is it stops Israel from attacking these positions with air power or with artillery or indirect weapons. And that's, obviously the IDF, look, I was originally infantry. If I can call in an airstrike or call in artillery without having to physically go in there and remove them or take them out, so to speak, that's much preferred from an infantry standpoint. Because if I got to go in there and deal with it in person, there is a high degree of risk involved in that operation that I would like to avoid if I could. Now, in this situation where you have these things set up right next to a UNIFIL post, there is only one way to go in there, and you have to go in there physically. And of course, there have been incidents with the IDF operating in there where I think 4 UNIFIL troops, soldiers have been injured in these operations. In one case, and I'm not quite sure what the IDF was doing exactly, but they rolled up with a tank right up to a UNIFIL gate, and there's been a lot of acrimony back and forth on whatever that was. But this is a big problem. And the issue is that Hezbollah is operating in that area. They're not supposed to be in that area. The UNIFIL forces were supposed to keep them out. They did not keep them out. Bibi Netanyahu has come right out and said, get out to the UNIFIL. He said to the UN, get them out of there, get them out of harm's way. Move them out. We know they're setting up. They've got stuff set up right next to these posts. Get your troops out of there. And the UN right now is taking a position, and the EU is agreeing with them that no, they're there under a mandate. They have to stay there. The IDF has to avoid injuring them, and it's just put a lot of people into danger across the board because of what's going on there. And I don't know what the answer is going to be. I really think right now with an active combat area, the smart move is to get those UN troops out of there altogether. But the UN is saying they can't do that because the Security Council mandate saying they're supposed to be there to begin with. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation essentially.
And just to put,
I just feel for the troops on the ground.
and I just want to put a fine point on this. These are UN peacekeepers, really. That's who we're talking about here. And what's going on here? Is it that Hezbollah is setting up their facilities near these UNIFIL affiliated areas because they know that the IDF can't strike them? That's how they're setting this up.
Yeah, if you set up an arms cache or a fighting position within a few hundred yards or a few hundred meters of a UNIFIL camp, all right, UNIFIL may not come out and do anything about that. I mean, they haven't stopped infiltrating and setting up in that area, operating in that area for not just years, but years and years, literally going back to pretty much right after 1701 was put into effect. You know, you're going, that's 18 years that it has been down there, and Hezbollah is heavily infiltrated, operating throughout that entire area, in many cases in the open. But if they're set up close to these UN facilities, that really ties the hands of what the Israeli Defense Forces can do. You know, they can't call in a big artillery strike. They can't call in an airstrike because, frankly, anything they do would be danger close to the UNIFIL troops. So they have to go in there and engage with them, you know, firsthand with infantry on the ground. And even then, there's a great deal of danger for UNIFIL and for everybody there, because depending on what they find, if you have an arms cache with a lot of explosive ordnance, you could end up having a sympathetic detonation, shall we say, from some other means, and it would put the UNIFIL post in danger. And that's why Israel has basically just said you need to pull your forces out. It's dangerous, but the UN is standing on, pardon the expression, kind of moral high ground, if you will. But they're standing, saying, "Look, it's a UN national security resolution. We are required to be here. We don't have the discretion of pulling our forces out." And I really do feel for some of these forces that are stuck there. You know, as you know, I haven't done UN operations, but I've worked in and around that region where there's UN operations going on. I have worked with troops that do UN missions all the time, and it's always a bit of a precarious situation. That's why they're there. They're not sent to places that are peaceful, and it's now they're in great danger because of the situation they're in. And so it's a real conundrum. But hey, Hezbollah's there. That's an undeniable fact. That's not conjecture. They are there, and they did set up, or they have set up right next to UNIFIL positions.